5, 4, 3.
Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. It is Thursday, December 14th, and I'm here with a distinguished group of individuals who will be speaking to us today as I sign into law a bill that will benefit volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance corps workers across Westchester County. This is an important bill because it shows recognition in the way of property tax breaks for those people that voluntarily give their service in communities to help keep us safe. And we know that we rely on both fire services and ambulance services every day, and the potential that we may need them is at any point in time. So the work that the Board of Legislators has done in passing this bill, I must say unanimously, 16-0. It was a quad-partisan vote, as 4 separate parties are represented on the Board of Legislators. This is an important step, and we're very happy to be here today for this. The basic law provides a tax break that goes up to 10% on property taxes for those individuals who work for a volunteer fire company or a volunteer ambulance service in Westchester County. And depending on where you live, the services provided in these 2 areas of essential services may be totally provided by volunteer individuals. So as we try to help create an incentive that is helpful to them, to keep them encouraged in doing this work, because it's very hard work and there's a lot of training that they need to stay up to speed on provisions of safety and modern equipment. But we, the civilians, rely on their work. So we want to thank them and give them a benefit that we think they've more than deserved over this period of time. I'm going to be joined by a number of individuals who are going to speak. First, I'm going to have our Commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services, my friend Richard Wishney, speak to us. He heads up the Westchester County's Emergency Services Response and Operation. Then we're joined by Stephen Greenfeld, who is the Ardsley Seacorps Volunteer Ambulance Corps representative with us here. Angela Outhouse, who's president of the Westchester County Volunteer Firefighters Association. She wears a lot of different hats as well. She's involved in fire in Buchanan and volunteer EMS in Croton. And then 2 of our legislators, Chairman Vedat Gashi and the Minority Leader, Margaret Cunzio. And then after all of that, I'm actually going to sign the bill into law. So first, let me invite Commissioner Richard Wishney to join us here, talk a little bit about the program. His excellent leadership in this department really helps make all of this come together.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
First of all, we're delighted to be here with all of you. This is a very, very important and historic day. Just a little synopsis. Deputy Commissioner Spear and I have been leading the department for about 3 years now, and we spend a lot of our time on this issue. This is a critical issue. We have a crisis across America, a shortage of EMS volunteers, a shortage of fire volunteers, a big problem. So just a little history here. As I mentioned, there's a significant shortage of volunteer firefighters and EMS workers throughout the country. Recruitment and retention of these first responders is a high priority for volunteer agencies. Here in Westchester, through the efforts of County Executive Latimer and his administration, a 3-year supplemental ambulance service was put into place to address the shortage of EMS workers that had produced more than 7,000 mutual aid calls. These calls resulted in long delays for patients requiring hospital care, jeopardizing the lives of many of them. While this supplemental service is a short-term solution, the county also has embarked on a second project, hiring a consultant to study the state of EMS in Westchester and recommend potential countywide solutions. A third effort of the Latimer administration is to address recruitment and retention of volunteer EMS and firefighters in the very highly successful HEROES program that provides up to $6,000 per year for first responders' educational costs while the recipients fulfill a commitment to their local agency. In December of last year, the governor signed into law a statewide opportunity for local governments and taxing authorities to opt into a 10% property tax break for volunteer fire and EMS workers. Today, County Executive Latimer will sign into law Westchester's continuing support of volunteer EMS and firefighters who meet certain membership conditions that maintain their volunteer services. In behalf of all the volunteers and the many struggling emergency agencies in Westchester County, we sincerely appreciate the County Executive and the Board of Legislators for their partnership in addressing this public safety crisis. It is our hope that other local governments, including towns, villages, school districts, join with the county in opting into this fight to save our local volunteer emergency service organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard, for your exemplary leadership. And I also want to recognize the equally exemplary leadership of our Deputy Commissioner, Susan Spear, who served with us in that department, has been behind the HEROES program and so many other of these important movements. Next, I'm going to invite Stephen Greenfeld to the microphone. He's with the Ardsley Secor Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Stephen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for having me today. My name is Stephen Greenfeld, and I'm a 10-year veteran with the Ardsley EMS service, and I'm a 28-year veteran of volunteering in EMS in New York State. It's not a mystery that EMS is at a critical point. We have lost probably 50% of our EMTs throughout the state in the last 5 to 10 years. It is an under-respected, understood profession. I applaud and thank County Executive Latimer, his legislative team, and the Department of Emergency Services under Commissioner Wishney and Deputy Commissioner Spears, because we need every tool in our tool bag available in order to do recruitment and retention. My organization is a heavy user of the HERO program. We've gotten, I think, 20 students from Mercy College that have been with us for almost 2 years now throughout their education, who are going to leave us and move on to other professional careers, and frankly, they can't afford to live in Ardsley. Other programs, such as the program that's being signed into law today, is an excellent tool to help us recruit and retain volunteers, adult volunteers who live in our community and who will live in our community for the next 10 or 15 years. Many of our volunteers have served tirelessly. We have several volunteers who have hit 40 years of service in EMS. With programs like this, we hope to continue that as an all-volunteer service. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next up, Angela Outhouse. Angela Outhouse, President of the Westchester County Volunteer Firefighters Association, and as I mentioned earlier on, she is both a volunteer firefighter in Buchanan and a volunteer EMS person in Croton, so she's pretty busy. Angela.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank County Executive Latimer and the Board of Legislators for passing and signing into law this important legislation. It is a very tangible way to recognize the dedicated service and even sacrifices that many volunteers make. And a lot of people don't understand the sacrifices that a volunteer makes. It's just not something people who are not in the field understand. That when that call comes in, they're leaving their kids' soccer games, dinner, their bed to respond to someone else's call. And this legislation will be a great recruitment and retention piece, because it is a much needed incentive to have residents volunteer in their own community. A tax break does give them some kind of incentive to be a member. And so for prospective volunteers out there, please get involved. It's incredibly gratifying to be able to help your neighbors. And very recently, I was on a call, and when I walked in, they said, "Thank God it's you," because they knew who I was. And there's no feeling like that. So I am glad that everyone recognized the need for this. I would also like to thank Commissioner Wishney and Susan Spears, Deputy Commissioner Spears, for all of their help. We have had a great relationship through my presidency, and I hope that it will continue on. So I applaud the county once again, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Nothing of significant value happens without a cooperation between the executive branch of the government and the legislative branch of the government. The Board of Legislators, the 17 members who are there, have the authority to review ideas and issues, debate them, modify them, and determine if they want to advance them. And there are things that I cannot do until they choose to do. And so the fact that this bill was conceived, crafted, edited and finalized by the Board of Legislators with a unanimous vote is really a testament to the advocacy of the members of the board who supported this, who advanced this, and their legislative handiwork. So let me invite the Chair of the Board of Legislators, Vedat Gashi, to speak.
Thank you, County Executive Latimer. Obviously, volunteer firefighters and EMS workers provide a vital function for our community, and you know, they're something that we in the board appreciate. But my father had a saying, it was said in Albanian, but stop telling me you care about me, show me you care about me. And I think this is one of those ways where we are actually showing, and in a real and tangible way, and hopefully that will alleviate some of the challenges you have in recruitment. I have to give specific thanks to, of course, the County Executive and Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, Commissioner Wishney and Deputy Commissioner Spear for their advocacy, and within the board, our own volunteer firefighter, Minority Leader Margaret Kunzio, for her advocacy on this issue. It's obviously you have a good and vocal advocate in that community. And again, thank you to all the people here volunteering their time for the services of our community. It's a real benefit, and we sincerely appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And as I get ready to call up the next speaker, Margaret Kunze, I'm going to invite our Deputy County Executive to join us here at the podium, Ken Jenkins, whose responsibility and involvement in all elements of this government is ongoing and positive in each of those things. She's just been described as a key advocate on these things because of her experience as a volunteer. And Margaret Kunzio, who represents the district that includes North Castle, Mount Pleasant, some of the villages that are attached to those, has been a leader. And she may be by title the minority leader, but our level of government doesn't work quite the way that the state and the federal government does. A person has a good idea, and they're in this party, they're that party, that idea still gets fair hearing. And people in all parties sit down and determine if we can come to common agreement. So her leadership is not bounded by whether she's in the minority or the majority. She's brought ideas of quality for everybody's consideration. Margaret Kunzio.
Thank you very much, County Executive Latimer. I am a proud volunteer firefighter for the Thornwood Fire Department. They tell you to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. I honestly can tell you I had no idea what I was getting into when I got into Firefighter 1. And I personally want to thank a few people as well. County Executive Latimer, you have been a proponent of emergency services, as well as Commissioner Wishney and Deputy Commissioner Susan Spear. They have been advocates. They listen to me. I will pop in on Dana Road. You never know when I'm going to be there, either taking a class at night or just to say hello. And I also would like to say a thank you to Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, because I know you and I worked very hard together to try to get that mutual aid system for the county and work out some tweaks as well. So this is my mission. Everybody on the board is passionate about something. Mine is emergency services. I walk the walk. I am there. I want to thank my brothers and sisters in the volunteer firefighting service as well as emergency services. This is important. Our volunteer ambulance corps volunteers, our firefighters, we're the ones that are running towards danger. We're running towards motor vehicle accidents. We're running towards things that most people run away from. This is the least that we can do. It's 10%, but 10% means a lot when you add it on to other things. The HERO program, an amazing, amazing program for those recruitment purposes. I know personally we have quite a few people from my fire department that take advantage of that HERO program. These are all things that we need to do. It is never too old to join. It is never too late. And it's never too late to inspire and connect with those at the universities, the colleges, and the high schools to bring people in and show them how rewarding this is. When you want to know about a person, ask them what they do outside of work. Ask them what they do when they volunteer. Ask them if they volunteer. And if not, give them this idea to recruit them and to come in. It is by far one of the most rewarding things. And again, a personal thank you to everyone involved in volunteer emergency services. I am so proud to be able to be here for the signing. And I want to say thank you to everyone involved.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Margaret Kunzio. So I'll be ready to sign the bill into law, and we have ceremonial pens for each of our speakers here and the folks who've been involved in this. Just to close this out, I want to ask you to imagine something, and if it helps you to close your eyes, this might make it a little bit more profound. I want you to imagine that you're sleeping in your bedroom at night, and you hear a smoke detector go off. So if you have a smoke detector, and you should. If you don't, you should. You hear the smoke detector go off, and you kind of wake out of a sleep, and you get up, and you realize there's a fire in your apartment or a fire in your home. And you realize that the fire may be blocking your only means of exit. That happens. You can't get downstairs if you're in an upstairs situation. You can't get to the door of your apartment, or right outside your door, you touch the door and it's too hot for you to open. You know the fire's right beyond that. Imagine separately that you're sitting on your couch watching TV and you have a pain, and the pain is noticeable, and then it's so profound that you can't see, and you drop to your knees and you realize you're having a heart attack. In those couple of moments, does it matter what your political party or affiliation is? In those couple of moments, does it matter what your bank account is? In those couple of moments, do you think about anything else other than what it might take you to survive? We pray that those moments don't happen to us. They don't happen frequently. But when they happen, you would do anything for the help that you need to survive, to get your family out of the fire, to get yourself or a loved one in some stabilized position so you have the chance of saving their life. That's what these people do. As was said by Angela, they drop what they're doing at dinner. They drop what they're doing if they're with their kids, if they're out enjoying themselves in a movie or at some other activity. They stop what they're doing immediately to come to that location where you are in a fire, where you are suffering a heart attack or a serious life-threatening moment. Those moments have not happened to me, but they could. They could happen at any point in time. Driving on 287 to one of my umpteenth events, having just decorated the Christmas tree and realizing that fire's broken out. So whatever we can do for these people, we ought to do. We ought to appreciate them. We ought to show them we love them, and we ought to show them tangible benefit for what they do. That's what this tax break does. This says not only we love you and we honor you and we respect you, but that your work to us has a value, and we want you to understand that that value has a tangible benefit to you. That is what I'm signing into law right now.
Excellent.
Join me around here. The item that I have in front of me is Local Law Intro Number 2023, number 454. This has been passed by the Board of Legislators of Westchester County by 16 votes for and no votes against on the 11th day of December 2023. That vote has been certified by Malika Vandenberg, who's the clerk of the Westchester County Board of Legislators. She's affixed her signature to that adoption, meaning the Board of Legislators has passed this and have submitted it to me in the position of county executive to sign it into law. And then therefore, on this day, which is the 14th day in the month of December of 2023, I'm affixing my signature on the bill, which will make it the law for Westchester County. And I don't know if I get enough. I'm going to make sure I get all these pens down here. So split my signature up here. These are the things they don't teach you at county executive school. But we all have our tasks. But with my signature, this now is the official law of Westchester County. I want to congratulate and thank Angela Outhouse.
Thank you.
I want to thank Steve. I want to thank Commissioner Wishney.
Thank you.
Deputy Commissioner Spear, And I have one for the chair of the board, Mr. Gashi, legislator Margaret Kunzio. This bill is now the law of Westchester County. Thank you for your excellent work.